Good afternoon, Santa Cruz County Public Media friends and family. We are here in another segment of Meet Your Local Candidates. And I always get very excited to have leaders of our community here with us on our new studio in Morley Avenue. And mostly because, as I share in every program, it's our responsibility to get to know our local candidates and also to get to know a little bit about them, and when it's time to vote, to make the right decision. With that being said, I want to welcome Mr. Louie Parra. Mr. Louie Parra, he's running for District 1 for our Santa Cruz County for Supervisor. And welcome, Mr. Parra, to your new studio here in Willow, Nogales. Bienvenido.
Muchísimas gracias, muy amable, te lo agradezco mucho. Un poco nervioso, pero pues manos a la obra.
Exacto. And you know, like as I share with all our leaders from our community, you know, this is something awesome that we get to connect with families, with friends, with followers, and we want to thank all these followers for keep growing into our We Love Nogales, Santa Cruz County Public Media. We want to make sure that all of our leaders, all of our candidates, their voice get heard here in our studio. We feel also that we have the compromise to show our beautiful Santa Cruz County and to show outside, and thank you to all those leaders that follow us from all over the world, and to show what a great leaders we have here in our county. So welcome. We know that you are running for District 1 Supervisor, and we also know that you have a long history of leadership here in our county. So we want to share with everyone a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start with the test.
Very well. Yeah, well, I'm born and raised here in Nogales. I'm the oldest of four brothers.
Uh-huh.
My sister Marcela, my brother Alex, and the youngest one is Judy. Mm-hmm. I have one son. He lives in Tucson, and I have my own business. I work in produce. I sell tomatoes, and I'm very fond of that industry. I love what I do. I enjoy it. It's a great camaraderie between all of us in the produce industry, and we always look forward to talking to each other in the morning. It's really great. Nice. I don't have much of a hobby. I'm not a Knights of Columbus or anything like that, but you know, I cook a little bit, but not a lot of cooking, like fritanga cooking, you know, like Winnie con huevo and stuff like that.
Sí, lo bueno.
Sí, and I pretty much worked in produce all my life. Like I said, I don't have any kind of a footprint as far as Knights of Columbus and such of those, although I admire them very much. Mm-hmm. I had the honor of going with the Lions Club the other day with Mr. Marcio Arona and another friend of mine. And another friend of mine named Alfred, he also is with the Knights of Columbus. And I look forward to meeting them soon. Yes. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I just work and sell tomatoes.
Awesome, yeah. And thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself, Mr. Parra. We've seen your signs all over our county, yes. And we know you're running for District 1.
Yes.
I always love to sometimes be repetitive to teach our audience, because I think it helped all of us, even myself, to get to know District 1. Where is the coverage of District 1? Right. And then we notice, I notice on your campaign signs, which it will be showing also during our interview, that you mentioned that it's for a stronger tomorrow, county sense, practical solutions in protecting public funds. I think you mentioned a lot about, you know, you do a lot of covering with those words. So I would love if you can expand about your vision.
Sure, absolutely. District 1 to me is the hardest district to represent, because it's basically fully developed. It's the heart of Nogales. It's the seat of the county. The seat of the county is Nogales, Arizona, and basically goes all the way to Meadow Hills, south, but it doesn't include Meadow Hills, it doesn't include Valle Verde, it doesn't include Mariposa, but it does include over there by the hospital, all the way up to Walnut, and all the way out to Kino Springs, Beatus Estates, Royal Road, Camino Vista del Cielo. That's basically the heart of Nogales, where Nogales grew, where it was, founded in 1863 by the two Russian immigrants, Jacob and Isaacson, and then they couldn't pronounce Nogales. They couldn't pronounce Isaacson towns, so the postmaster named it, from what I understand, named it Nogales.
Wow!
And the rest is history. And so, there's always been a strong trade here because it was initially a trading post, and then it became the commerce and the Jewish influence here in town, and the rest is history. We became a commerce city town that took advantage of the border, and it exploded in commerce and trade and everything. And subsequently, we had the produce, which has been around almost 100 years, from Culiacan, which was initially the cornucopia of Mexico. Now it's expanded into the mainland Mexico because of technology and greenhouses and such. But Nogales reaped the rewards of all that development in the 100 and some years that it's been here. I feel Nogales should be a lot farther along in things as far as economic development and opportunity and such. And Nogales, District 1 is the heart of Nogales. It's the hardest to represent, in my opinion, because it's fully developed. Fully developed as far as residential goes, industrial goes, and retail goes. You can move it, you can rearrange the parameters of the zoning, but it's a lot of work, and what for? I mean, we're just in a crunch right now with nothing, and we're just strained. I took it upon myself to run for District 1 because I was going to run for City Hall, for City Council, excuse me, but upon going in there, I really didn't identify with anybody there, and one I did, but I felt that my efforts were going to be in vain because you have to have an alliance to execute an allegiance, to get your agendas, to get your referendums, to get everything ratified in order to get somewhere. So I think I would have been 4 years, just with a butt of frustration. That being said, I saw an opportunity to run for supervisor of District 1. And I could encompass the responsibilities of a supervisor and also as a citizen, also take care of the citizens of Nogales as a citizen, as a resident, and address things that people come and talk to me and everything and this and that. District 1, like I said, is fully developed, so I mean, what can we do for District 1? District 1, everybody complains that economic development is stagnant, totally stagnant. And the culprit is FEMA, the flood zone, floodplain. We're going, I know, it's going to be close to 20 years now with that. I experienced it when I lived in Chula Vista in '77 and it flooded. And I remember vividly, my old man woke me up, hey, wake up. I said, "Apa, it's sábado," and he splashed water on me, and the rest is history. So we came and this and that, and then FEMA came in, and the parameters of FEMA, pretty much encompass all of the heart of Nogales. Goes through Monte Carlo, goes all the way to Tubac, goes to on the other side of Grand Avenue, Valle Verde, everything to a certain extent. I could be a little bit vague in that, but I mean, very much so. We're just crippled. We're not hindered, we're crippled 100%, because if you want to buy a building here, for example, on Morley Avenue, and I hope I'm remembering the formula right, but basically if the building is worth $10, and again, I hope I'm remembering the formula right, please forgive me. The building is worth $10. You can only use 50% of the value. You can use $5. And you can only develop it 40% of the square footage.
I see.
So, I mean, así como.
Right.
Right? The other option is to raise it 48 inches. Okay. So then I told the guy, because I was going to buy a building some time ago, and I told the guy, wait a minute. I lived through the flood, and fine. I understand that if at one point in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there was a huge storm and all of Nogales got washed away. Morley Avenue got washed away. Grand Avenue got washed away. And FEMA came in and we're just totally crippled, and we're obligated to their parameters and their enforcement of a code that's just doesn't make any sense. I could understand it. But the buildings are still here. The building is 90 years old. This building is probably,
Yes.
how old is this building,
I
right?
think it's from the 1912-ish,
Over
¿verdad?
100.
Más o menos.
Over 100 years old.
Yeah.
So common sense dictates, okay, fine, we got floods, we got this, we got that, but the buildings are still here. So I told the guy, look, man, there's three things that we know now that we don't know back then.
Right.
Okay, and that should be taken into consideration, but it's common sense and logic. And a lot of times common sense and logic don't have a seat at the table in bureaucracy.
Yes.
So that being said, we know when it's going to rain, we know where it's going to rain, and we know how much it's going to rain.
Okay.
That should be taken into consideration into the formula of development. Why? Because if FEMA says we got to raise it 48 inches, then the city and the county will give you sandbags to put 60 inches.
I see.
5 feet. 4 feet, we go 5 feet, and we can prepare. We can say that storm's coming in a week, 3 days, it's going to rain for 4. We need more sandbags. And the county and the city will facilitate that so we can get prepared. Because nobody's promised tomorrow. Right. And the flood zone, floodplain is a 100-year plan. Now it's down to 10. Okay, but, you know, we got the money today. We got opportunity today. Our growth is stunned today, is crippled today. So we need to address it today. And unfortunately, you know, it doesn't matter to the FEMA and all this and all that. And I'm being brief about things. I mean, yes, there are some adjustments being made as far as floodplain and flood zone, but the bottom line is you can't come in and say, okay, I'm going to put this, I'm going to put that, because you have to adjust it accordingly to FEMA. That being said, my main responsibility, and like I told a bunch of people, I'm going to try to get the economic development rolling. And how do I do that? What the biggest obstacle is the floodplain, the FEMA floodplain. So in produce, you have to prove your damages to a certain extent. So if I send you a load of tomatoes and you call me, hey, Louie, you know, they're soft, they're this, they're that, I say, all right, relax. You run them, you sort them out. Out of the 1,600 boxes, you lost 400 boxes. Boom. The 1,600 boxes, 400 boxes, I pay you freight. Boom. And then I pay you to dump them. Boom. And then I missed the market that was $10. I had to sell for $6. So anyway, make a long story short, I proved damage. You proved damages, and that $10, you know, this is paraphrasing the proving the damages. And it's a little bit more elaborate. It needs an inspection. But you prove damages, and then you adjust the invoice accordingly. That invoice goes from $10 down to $5, let's say. So Nogales and Santa Cruz County, in my opinion, we can prove damages. We can prove damage. How can we prove damages? We can prove damages that people that have a little bit of money, and they want, and this pertains to residents also, they have a little bit of money, want to build their kitchen. You know, they got to raise it 48 inches, really? So, you know, it disillusions individuals and families per se. And then they're going to make another room, same thing. The parameters of the FEMA guidelines kick in, you got to address that. So a lot of times individual households, you know, they're a little bummed out because they got to do this, got to do that. And there's just so much red tape and everything. I mean, it's well intended, don't get me wrong. Yes. Very well intended, but the bottom line is, we can't do anything. So I've talked to engineers, prominent construction owners. I've talked to businesses here in town, even in Rio Rico, and you know, they put their business here, they buy the lot on each side, and they can't build anything because they got to follow FEMA. It's like, you know, how much, you know? So a lot of people say, you know, I'm going to die on the cross, me voy a morir en la raya. But you got to try it, because we just sit there and capitulate and we can't do anything. And in the meantime, the world keeps on going. We're 150 years old or so, Nogales, and we got a jail and we got a Walmart to show. You know, we're fighting for a junior college, and from what I read, I may be wrong, but from what I read, every county should have a junior college. So back in the day, they elected, I don't know, of course it was the municipality, the county elected to build a jail, and I could see why, you know, because it brings jobs, yada yada, it's everything. But at the same time, you know, what about Nogales? You know, what about logic dictates that it was going to grow. There's going to be more families. We're going to have kids. We're going to have another school. So why not bet on the future with the youth, with the seniors, with the education, instead of a jail?
Exactly.
But I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. I'm not throwing shade on anyone, but it is what it is.
Right.
You know, I remember the first couple of years it was born, I brought a customer down. He goes, "Hey man, I want to stay at that hotel downtown." "Which one? The one on the hill?" I go, "Dude, that's a jail."
I
goes,
see.
"Really?"
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, but their intentions were good also
Right.
because it's a source of revenue, source of jobs, et cetera, et cetera. They could have put it way the heck somewhere else.
Right.
You know, but you know, it is what it is.
Right.
And so Nogales District 1, very difficult to represent. Another thing that I looked upon, you know, everybody's talking about housing. So, like I said, this is fully developed residential, you know, and everything. So, and these ideas are just common sense ideas that maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but it's, you know, they're kind of aggressive, but it doesn't mean they can't come to fruition. I think that maybe 70 or 80% of the residents in in District 1, that they probably own their own homes outright, you know, a grand majority, maybe 50%, maybe more. But that being said, they've lived in that house, their grandma lived there, their father lived there, or, you know, let's say we live there and your mom's still there, your grandma's still there. So what I'm getting at is there's a chance right now to offer them the avenue to create generational wealth. So what do I mean by that? That means that someone that owns a house on Western Avenue, you know, the grandma, the father, the mother, whatever, their kids already left the coop there, they're living their own life, doing everything, but they have an asset there that could be all paid for. So, you know, I know people at Bank Yuma, you know, that I talked to them briefly. They said, well, you know what, we'll address it, you know. So between the son, the daughter, the granddaughter, whatever, they pool their resources and say, okay, we can do this. We can buy a lot. And I've already talked to a couple of guys that say, yeah, man, I got some lots. We can do this. We can do that. They can buy a lot and they can build another house, or they can build a duplex. Okay, and they can move into the new house or the new duplex and they can rent that one. You know, pays for the mortgage, et cetera, and it creates, you know, and I hate using the term, but it is what it is, generational wealth, right?
Right.
So that's another plan that for District 1, because
Right.
I can't offer anything else to do, you know.
Right.
It's just everything there. You know, schools, as far as schools go in District 1, you know, Mr. Velasquez, the superintendent, is doing a great job right there. You know, I know they got out money because of the embezzlement, but he's
Right.
doing a good job. So, I mean, that's another department, and, you know, I
Right.
just watch from the outside looking in.
Right.
So I'm really concentrating on District 1.
I see.
What can I do? How can I move forward with it? You know,
Exactly.
and those are the only things that come to my mind. And believe me, if you
I
guys have any suggestions, I'm all
Awesome.
ears. You know, hopefully when I win, and
Yes.
you know, that's where I'm at. I'm looking at it
Awesome.
as like opportunity. You know, how can we get ahead in District 1? So my main focus, and hopefully, you know, I don't even know my Facebook, but I'll find it out from my
Sure.
sister.
Yes, of course.
And if there's any ideas, you can put it on there.
Of course.
Especially owners or business owners or homeowners that have run into problems with the flood zone, et cetera, that I can prove damages. I can, you know, we have so many people that couldn't do this. So many people couldn't do that. We have, you know, maybe some other businesses came into town, a restaurant or something, they came down, later. So they left. We could prove damage very easy. Engineers also, you know, they could have remodeled, but they missed the order because they couldn't afford, you know, going to spec and this and
I
that.
see.
So proving damages, I think, is the only logical way to address it. And a lot of people say, Louie, you know, you're going to waste your time. But who knows? You know, if I win, I'll do my best. I'll go to Washington and knock on people's doors and prove damages, because we need to do something for Nogales to grow. We've already fallen by the wayside economically for a number of reasons, and this is the primary reason. And you know, there's other markets that I see also. May I elaborate on other things?
Of course, yes.
You know, there's other markets. I look at it like, you know, sometimes in produce in the morning, you can't sell tomatoes, so you try to sell bell peppers. Can't sell bell peppers, you sell cucumbers. So right now, Nogales in Santa Cruz County, I'm talking about the county now, not the only thing we have to offer, but the major asset that we have to offer is space.
I see.
A lot of area, which equals opportunity.
Right.
So we need to be very wise in how we use it. Not everything that glitters is gold.
Right.
You know? We have to make sure that today's decisions don't have ramifications down the road, like the floodplain.
I see.
So I see a market right now. Again, most of the people here own their house. There's other people in Tucson, in Sahuarita, perhaps here in town Nogales, and everybody talks about affordable housing. Affordable housing is important. I think we should take care of the seniors first. Do what we can. Address them because they build Nogales, and it's a shame sometimes. And I'm on the outside looking in, and sometimes the seniors, because they're alone, one person, a family gets this and gets that. I could be wrong, but from what I understood, and I really want to take care of the seniors. I'll do anything I can for them, and school's important, and of course education. That being said, I see a market for Nogales to have forever homes. What do I mean by forever homes? You have houses in Sahuarita that are one right next to another, right? I mean, it's like they put 10 houses where there should be 6.
Yes.
Right? So, and those people pay a pretty penny.
Yes.
And there's a line to buy them. So, again, this is me just thinking out loud of business opportunity.
Right.
Nogales can create a market for forever homes. We can have a Meadow Hills, half-acre lots, close to half-acre lots, where when your family comes to visit you, they park in your driveway and not on the street. If you buy a UTV or a motorcycle or whatever, it goes on your property. It goes there. There's a market for that because people in Tucson that bought their house for $150,000, whatever, 10, 20 years ago, and now it's worth $300 or $350, they're going to make a lateral move at best. They're not going to go up. They're going to make a lateral move. That being said, if they can afford $350, they can. Some will, and I'm sure, like I said, there's a market. It's not for everybody, but there's a market for people that say, "Hey, I'll pay $400 for a half-acre lot."
I see.
And I'll commute from Tucson to Nogales because getting from Broadway and Alvernon to Marana, where I work, is 40 minutes anyway.
Right.
Right. So I see that market, and I really think if we got a cohesion between the realtors that could speak here and address it in Tucson and push it, because if there's a house that you can, in Tucson you can't buy a half-acre house, but we can here, and we're going to price them accordingly. And the people come, the schools will get better, everybody will come. We can offer forever homes. Now that doesn't mean we're not going to have affordable homes either. Going back to what I said, to creating generational wealth. Trailers, they have a bad stigma. That being said, however, manufactured housing has one thing, but I mean, manufactured housing is incredible. I went to one in Phoenix, and you can get into a 14, 16, 1,800 square foot house, manufactured. ¿Cómo se dice? Que ya vienen hechas, ¿no?
Sí, manufactured.
Yes, I'm getting nervous.
Sí.
But you can get into one of those houses for under $200,000.
Right.
200,000, and you go inside, and they're beautiful.
Yes.
They're beautiful. So it kind of addresses our main income here, which is $36,000, $40,000. It addresses it, and it could be feasible, and you can make that a forever home. Now, what do I mean by forever home? I mean by forever home that I bought my house, I'm going to plant a tree, and I'm going to make a tree house for my daughter when she grows up. You can't do that in Sahuarita with all those tract homes. You can't do that anything. I mean, everybody wants space. I mean, during Christmas, try parking in front of someone's driveway. Oh my gosh, people get crazy, right? So I think you can address all that, and it could be a sales point also for the development. That being said, we're also going to have 2,000 people coming to work at the mine, and they're going to be well paid.
Right.
And all those guys are going to have UTVs and motorcycles and rails and 3 cars and 4 cars.
Right. And they need a place.
And they need goes again, that's the market we can address. And I think, everybody talks about the kind of bad about the mine, but let's look at the half full.
Okay.
The half full. There's going to be 2,000 people that work there. They need somewhere to live. We got space. Let's address it.
I see.
Right? That being said, they're going to need somewhere to shop, somewhere to eat, somewhere to pass the time. Let's address it.
I see.
Because if not, they're going to go north.
Right.
They're going to go to Sahuarita, they're going to go to Tucson, and we're going to miss the boat. Hopefully we won't, and all these things that I'm saying are a little aggressive or anything, but you never know.
Sí, gracias. Y sabe, me gusta mucho de la manera conocer la visión de Louie Parra corriendo para Distrito número 1 del Condado de Santa Cruz County como supervisor. Y gracias porque compartió su visión acerca de Nogales, porque Nogales es su área, acerca de cómo está el negocio, los negocios más que nada en la avenida de esta área más que nada, ¿no? En Morley Avenue, con los floatings, cuando llueve mucho, las inundaciones, todo eso nos acaba de compartir. Habló un poquito de la mina también, de cómo usted ve la situación con el vaso medio lleno y lo bueno de esa parte, ¿no? Vamos a traer más trabajo, vamos a tener personas que necesitan que nuestro Nogales se desenvuelva. Entonces, muchas gracias por compartirnos toda esa visión que fue lo que acabamos de escuchar. Y sé que habla español, por eso le estoy hablando en español, pero porque qué importante es para nuestros residentes, que son los que van a votar, que conozcan esas visiones de Louie Parra. También como habló de los negocios y del desarrollo y todo ese conocimiento que usted lleva como negociante de produce, hemos visto aquí en Morley muchas personas muy reconocidas con mentes brillantes en el arte. Tenemos residentes que son tan buenos en arte y aquí en Morley se está desarrollando mucho el arte alrededor por medio de todas estas personas impresionantes que son líderes en arte. Y usted como habló un poquito de los negocios y de los negocios de alrededor, me gustaría saber cómo Louie Parra, que ahora está corriendo para supervisor del Distrito 1 y Nogales sería su área, cómo usted pudiera apoyar a los negocios que están cerquita del área que va a ser su distrito, bueno, adentro del área que va a ser su distrito, cerca del cruce fronterizo donde vienen y nos visitan y como nos platica, tenemos Walmart y tenemos como una que otro lugar solamente a donde ir. Pero entonces, si evolucionamos todo este arte y estos líderes que están aquí adentro, como un supervisor del distrito pudiera apoyar un movimiento de entrepreneurs nuevos desarrollando el área que tanto se quiere ver aquí en Nogales, Arizona, que reviva. Muchas personas nos comparten que reviva esta área, que reviva Morley o que reviva la gente en la plaza y platicando y enseñando arte. Entonces, ¿cuál sería su visión, señor Parra?
Para lo del arte,
o por ejemplo, entrepreneurs,
mira,
adentro de creciendo.
Para el arte, pues lo importante del arte de los pintores, etcétera, etcétera, es que vean sus pinturas,
sí, claro,
¿no?
Exacto.
Entonces, ahorita nomás de balazo, pienso, pues poder desarrollar 2 o 3 espectaculares alrededor de la comunidad. Claro. Espectaculares dan más, ofrecen más inventario, como quien dice. Ponemos a fulano 2 semanas que pinte y lo ponemos otros 2 semanas. Sí. Y luego ya ponemos Entonces con 3 espectaculares, 2 semanas por cada artista, o un mes cada artista.
Claro.
Entonces son 3 artistas que se ven al nivel municipal, sí, igual internacional, porque todo el mundo cruza. Exacto. Y entonces ahí ponen un anuncio, Morley Avenue, etcétera, etcétera. Creo que eso iba a promover más, exponer más a los artistas, ¿no? Sí. Unos 2 o 3 espectaculares ahí, sí, bien alumbrados, como el que está en la Morley del vato ese, por decir, ¿me entiendes?
Sí, sí. Y ahora hay tanto corazón aquí en Morley con arte, sí, y muchas personas tratando de elaborar todo esa visión, sí, y dejarlo saber. Y tenemos artistas grandiosos por aquí, sí, entonces.
Sí. Otra atracción también puede ser, ha desarrollado mucho el cottage business, ¿no? Acaban de pasar el tamale bill, que es otra cosa, pero pues hay muchas jovencitas, jovencitos que hacen su side hustle, ¿no?
Sí,
que hacen
muchos.
cupcakes, que hacen esto. Entonces, ¿cómo atraer a la gente? ¿Sabes qué? Mi sobrina va a vender cupcakes el sábado. Se juntan 20, 30 jóvenes, ¿no?
Exacto.
Adolescentes, y les enseñan lo que es comprar y vender, vender y comprar, cómo hacer dinero, etcétera, etcétera. Pero al mismo tiempo viene la sobrina y viene toda la familia y viene el tío y la tía, y la abuela y el abuelo. Entonces, una niña trae a 15 personas. Entonces, vamos a suponer que vienen 20 niños, ¿verdad? Con el side hustle, que hacen galletas, que hacen esto, eso. Y en un tristras vienen 100 gentes.
Sí, claro.
Entonces, ahí tener otras cositas alrededor. Pero el ancla es lo que es el side hustle de los niños y las niñas, ¿verdad? Porque desarrollan ahí lo que es algo financiero y al mismo tiempo exponemos Morley Avenue. Y al mismo tiempo, pues ahí viene el arte, etcétera, etcétera. Pero el enfoque va a ser en la adolescencia, ¿verdad? En los niños, porque ellos son lo futuro y en las escuelas, ¿no? Ya otros más grandes, pues entre semana.
Sí.
Pero
sí, exacto, dar la idea a poder tener
a
algo
los niños,
alrededor de
y no
este
te cuesta nada, vienes a apoyar a tu hijo, a tu sobrino, a tu tío, a tu vecino.
Sí.
Y en 2 patadas tienes 100 personas.
True, yeah,
¿Me
thank
entiendes?
you.
Y tienes guitarra, algo así por decir, bonito, calmado.
Yeah.
Por lo pronto cero cheve porque se acelera mucho la
Exacto.
gente. Pura azúcar, que a lo mejor es lo mismo.
Exacto. No, y
Pero
local vendors, with drinks and something familiar where we can explore and get to
Yeah,
know.
because the kids are the anchor. Everybody's going to support their little brother, little sister, their niece, their nephew.
Right.
So, if they come, they're going to come, and then they're going to see this, they're going to see that. So,
Right.
I think that's, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for sharing that because we know sometimes our audience have also wanting to get to know more about the area, like where is your location of your studio, what is it, what's around there, and we're always very proud also to show the many murals that we have around our area.
Yeah.
So thank
And
you.
again, going back to the billboards, that mural is there stagnant until there's another mural.
Right.
So if you get 2 or 3 billboards around town,
Yeah.
you can rotate them once a month.
Exactly.
So you have, 3 artists for every month. So at the end of the year, you have 36 artists that expose their art.
Amazing, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So.
And thank you for sharing your vision. And I know on your campaign signs, you talk about protecting public funds, and we do know they were all over the news with recent news about the treasurer and about funding and about what is going to happen, what will happen to our county. So if I would love for you to elaborate a little bit about what do you mean about protecting public funds.
Okay.
What is your view about it, or any like hopes and dreams also, let's say it, let's put it like that, because at the same time I know as a community we're starting again, and we're getting to work hard to protect the funds that will be coming in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say one more thing about housing and the seniors.
Yes.
And opportunity economic injection into Nogales. I've been in touch with a retirement home, an assisted living home called Fellowship Square.
Okay.
They're in Mesa, they're in Phoenix, they're in Tucson, they're in Surprise, Arizona, and they're looking to expand. They have independent assisted living, and they have they offer other services. They were kind enough to invite me on August 27th to a We Love Tucson.
Okay,
They
nice.
copied you.
I love it. We're sharing the love.
I think
we're spreading the love.
that's what it was called. Eh?
Yes.
But it was very, very insightful. I mean, it's a nonprofit. It's a 503, what is it? It's a nonprofit, but the point of the matter is they're looking to expand. They have 700 residents total. They're looking north. I told them, hold on a minute, let's look south. The reason I bring this up is because there's another market that I see. So there's houses in residential areas that turn into rest homes. You know, there's some in Nogales West. There's some in, you know, around the county. And basically you get a permit and your neighbor becomes a rest home, and you can, and they can, you know, have people there and be like a mini, you know, pseudo rest home. So there's a market for it. Okay. That being said, the company is very good. It's called, and I'm sorry, it's called Fellowship Square.
I see.
And George Ortega runs it, and he was very kind enough to invite me there. And I took him in, and I was able to have the honor to meet Congressman Cisco Mani.
Yeah.
And I bent his ear about Nogales. He knew about Nogales. He knows a couple of guys down here.
Yes.
And I told him, and I go, you know, Nogales is the city that could have been but never was. And he, you know, he looked at me, and then so anyway, I bent his ear. He knows it's there. It doesn't mean anything, but the point of the matter is we need to get Nogales out there.
I see.
Okay. We have the people. We have the opportunity with land. It's going to be an economic injection on every level. And above all, I mean, every other building is Mariposa Clinic. So
I see.
So we work in conjunction with them and see what we can do. So, and that's good for, you know, 30, 40, even 50 jobs.
I see. Thank you.
So
yeah, and thank you. Thank you for sharing your vision.
You know, that
yes,
also,
yes.
and then this guy took notes on everything.
I know. I'm sure. I'm sure people have been asking you a little bit about everything.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't been a social media footprint. I'm not as fluid as my counterpart, Mr. Davis. But I have been talking to a lot of people. You know, just hey, what's up, what's up, and they all tell me the same thing. We can't do anything because of the flood if they're businessmen. And residents say, dude, there's nothing to do in Nogales. What's up, right? So,
thank you.
The common denominator is FEMA.
I see.
In my opinion, it could be others, but in my opinion. But vámonos al grano.
Vamos al dinero.
Nos vamos a regresar 6 años.
Ok.
Al 2018.
Muy bien.
Y lo voy a poner, ¿cómo te diré? En perspectiva.
Claro.
Y luego lo voy a poner en percepción y luego en perspectiva. Percepción es, yo te digo, pues subió $10, hijo de la fregada. Percepción es, por ejemplo, yo te hablo, necesito jalapeño grande. Sí, está grande. ¿Estás seguro? Sí, está grande. Ok. Percepción es eso. Perspectiva es que yo te diga, Maritza, saca un billete de 100, abre la caja y ponle sobre los chiles. Ya tienes ahí perspectiva, qué tan grande, qué tan chico. Ya te das cuenta todo, ¿no? Entonces eso es lo que tienes que tomar en cuenta ahorita con estos números, por decir. En el 2018 y el 2019 subió el presupuesto $8 millones en un año. Quiere decir, en un año subió $666,666, el número del chamuco. Al mes. Al diario. Esta es la perspectiva. Al diario subió $22,099. Okay. Del 19 al 20 subió $5 millones. Al mes subió $416,000. Al diario subió $13,000 con 698. Al diario. Y la razón que bueno, me estoy adelantando. De 20 a 21, de 21 a 22 subió $21 millones en un año. Al mes subió $1.7 millones al mes. Al diario, perspectiva, subió 57 millones. $57,000 al día, en un año.
Ay, sí.
Del 22 al 23 subió otros 20. Al mes, $1,600,000. Al diario, $56,000. Del 23 al 24 subió $10 millones. Al mes, $800,000. $800,000. Al diario, $27,000.
Sí, siguió subiendo cada año.
Del 24 al 25, ¿cuál es este año?
Este año.
Subió $18 millones. Al mes subió $1,500,000. Al diario subió $49,000.
Okay.
En 7 años subió el presupuesto $89 millones.
Wow. Increíble, sí.
Ahora, esto es nomás un desglose súper sencillo, nomás para que entienda. Yo no soy contador, ni soy CPA, ni nada. Yo nomás, lógico. Pero del 2018 está $70 millones, y en el 2025, 7 años después, está $159 millones.
Exacto.
Entonces, lo que me llama la atención es que nos robaron, se perdieron $40 millones, y sigue la quincena, sigue la luz, sigue el seguro, o sea, ni lo sentimos.
Sí.
Entonces, por eso desglosé esto al mes, y el fin, pues quién sabe, ¿verdad? Pero
Así.
es interesante eso.
Sí, muy interesante.
En 7 años subió $89 millones. La población no desarrolló, no creció. Negocios tampoco.
Right.
No hay más, bueno, como te digo, no hay contador ni nada, pero es súper interesante eso,
Sí.
por decir. Entonces, es algo que tomé la libertad de desglosar así brevemente para el público, pues no para que tomen en cuenta.
Gracias.
Ay, pues es mucho dinero, pero luego cuando lo desglosas al diario, ¿pero qué? ¿Sí me explico?
Sí. Y ahora la pregunta que sería, ¿cómo usted, si llega al puesto de distrito número 1 como Board of Supervisor, Louie Parra, cómo usted pudiera ayudar al condado a que sea más accountable por el dinero del condado?
Sí.
O que se desarrolle de una manera eficiente?
Bueno, lo voy a explicar en inglés primero.
Of course,
Okay?
thank you, yeah.
Okay, well, the chain of command will have to be exercised totally on this thing, because apparently, and I don't know the ins and the outs about it, because I don't know, apparently the supervisors can't go in and ask the treasurer, hey, let me see your books, but someone has to have that authority, be it the finance manager or somebody else. So the chain of command has to be used. Okay, there has to be a new system of writing checks, cashing checks, executing wires, contracting new vendors. So there has to be a vetted vendor. If we're going to get a new vendor, okay, what's this paying? Where's it going? Who said yes? What's doing? Accordingly, there has to be not literally a paper trail, but pretty much a paper trail. We're getting XYZ company. They've never done business with us before. Why are you getting them? What's the project? Who signed off on it? How much did it cost? Redundancy in spending the money is the key to avoid it. Like I said, we want redemption, get the money back. We want justice, which is being executed right now, or we want retribution. Retribution is punishment at any cost, right? So I don't know. Some people want all three, some people want one, some people want everything. So I don't know, but the bottom line is we have to purge the leak now. Okay, so redundancy and spending money, I think, would be the first thing to approach it. The second thing would be in every department, is there redundancy in execution of POs or checks or whatever? Is there too many people where it can get lost in the shovel? Or on the other hand, is there not enough people that nobody catches it? Okay, so that has to be analyzed also. And I also had a common sense. approach, but I don't know if it's legal, to sit everybody down. You're in charge? Yeah, okay, go have a coffee and talk to everybody that runs the department and say, like I said, I don't know if it's legal, but I'd sit everybody down and say, okay, if you were malicious or facetious, how would you steal money? So we do this, we do that. It can get done here, it can get done there. Like I said, I don't know if it's legal, but you never know. They want to keep their jobs. Everybody wants to keep their jobs because, sooner or later we're going to have to find that 40 million somewhere.
Yes.
And the worst thing that we can do is cut people, cut employment and everything else right there. And then it's very important that whenever someone's given money, okay, we make sure that that person got the money.
I see.
Be it the schools, be it, vendors, et cetera, and spread the business around, not just to one guy, not just to three guys. I'm pro-owner, pro-homeowner, pro-homeowner builder, pro-local business, pro-local contracts, pro-local. And if there's a little bit spread around, let's spread it around. Okay, now there can be one big company that does everything. But you know what? Redundancy in the redundancy in the project. Let's say, okay, you're going to waste time putting a sidewalk. Let's give it to this guy. You got the equipment to dig a 2-mile trench. All right, that's fine. Stuff like that we can address individually, so we can see where the money's going, and we can bring more business into Nogales, into the county. At the same time, foster business with local engineers, foster business with local companies, and again, if it's not within our wheelhouse as far as expertise go, then we sub it out, but we make sure we're paying the market and not above the market. Okay, we take care of our equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, vetting new vendors, being a checklist for every check written, being a checklist for every wire executed, being a checklist for every single movement out of that account.
I see.
That'll have to be developed internally and it'll be ratified. And the point of that is so the supervisors at any minute can say, hey, let me see. What happened yesterday?
I see.
This happened. And what happened last week? This happened.
I see. Accountability.
So we can avoid it in the future.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all those, everything that you see and all the vision that you have if you join as supervisor for District Number 1, Louie Parra. So, Mr. Parra, before we end our interview, please address to your public why is it important to go vote very soon. We're receiving our ballots very soon, in about 2 weeks, October 9. And then we can vote via mail, we can vote in person. And please let your public know, this is your space, why it will be important to vote and why it will be important to vote for Louie Parra for District Number 1 for Supervisor.
Well, it's very important to vote because you're paying taxes. That's the bottom line. If you pay taxes, you should have a voice. And if you don't vote, it kind of nullifies your voice. So it's very important. Mail-in ballots, early ballots, that's fine. But it feels very good to go personally and vote, and that's my personal opinion. Either way, whatever you do, go vote. That being said, I've never been in politics. I've never really tried for this endeavor, but I care about tomorrow. That's why I'm getting involved today, literally and figuratively. I love Nogales. Nogales was forever home here. We have to be very wise in our decisions today.
Yes.
For a stronger tomorrow. That's what I've illustrated a little bit there. And county-wise, like I said, count the money every day. And if the legalities of the government, internal governments don't let us go see personally, then let's develop a checklist where we can get it every day and see what happened. And either way, let's stick to Nogales. And another thing, smile. Say a good morning. If they tell you good morning, return it. Yes. Si te brindan un buenos días, regresa el buenos días. Caballeros, abran la puerta. Damas, si les abran la puerta, digan gracias. Es bien amable compartir cositas tan pequeñas hoy en día. Sí, de veras que es algo diferente. Yo lo practico y lo he practicado siempre y el mundo necesita todo eso.
Exacto.
Ahorita estamos en situaciones muy muy, ¿qué te diré?
Difíciles.
Entonces,
Yeah,
con todo corazón, si van a votar por Distrito 1, por favor consideren votar por mí. Los trato con totalmente respeto y si mi idea no les gusta, tráiganme su idea. Voy a estar ahí con la puerta abierta, accesible siempre. Y muchas gracias.
Gracias, señor Louie Parra, corriendo para Independiente y corriendo para el distrito número 1 por Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors. Muchísimas gracias por su tiempo, gracias por sentarse con nosotros a dejarle saber a nuestro público esa visión que tiene para nuestro condado, para nuestro distrito número 1. Gracias por estar con nosotros, gracias por su liderazgo y muchas gracias a todas las personas que nos ven, a todas las personas que ven el programa de Meet Your Local Candidates, porque de verdad que es muy importante nosotros enseñar a todos nuestros candidatos locales y es decisión de nosotros ir a votar y votar por la persona que nosotros estamos viendo, conociendo, pero también es una obligación bien grande.
Sí.
Así que los invitamos a votar. Los invitamos a votar de cualquier manera que ustedes decidan y a conocer estas entrevistas de Meet Your Local Candidates. Les agradecemos mucho siempre los comentarios.
¿Puedo decir una cosa más?
Sí,
última
sí,
cosa.
sí.
Sobre el condado más allá, se me olvidó algo que yo creo es bien importante, lo que es el basurero, ¿cómo se dice? El dump, el cesto.
Sí, el recycle.
Entonces, pues el recycle, no pasa, pero hay unas tituladoras industriales que, por ejemplo, si tienes el cuarto lleno de basura, la machaquean y se hace...
¿De waste management?
Pues esa es la empresa, pero esta es una máquina para reducir el pie cúbico y no comernos una montaña en 5 años. Entonces, lo machaquea, lo hace más chico, entonces, como quien dice, nos dura más el dump.
Exacto, ok.
Que creo que es importante porque si no, ya llenamos el dump, ya está lleno.
Sí, es verdad. Y ser más mindful también, exacto, con todo eso nosotros como audiencia, como público, como personas que vivimos en nuestro condado.
Otra cosa, y dispénsame que viene al final.
No,
también pienso yo igual, hay una tituladora para todo lo que es toda la basura y otra tituladora para todo lo orgánico, que son ramas, árboles y todo. Eso se puede hacer mulch y a lo mejor podemos hacer contratos con el estado, con otras ciudades, lo vendemos por tonelada, etcétera, etcétera.
Exacto.
Igual también podemos tomar ventaja del South 32. A lo mejor nos pueden hacer una super máquina que separe todo lo que es plástico, vidrio y todo lo demás, porque son ingenieros y son industriales.
Exacto.
Entonces, it's half full there and maybe we can take advantage of it.
Sí, exacto, definitivamente, sí. Muchísimas gracias por todas esas visiones, todas esas ideas que nos quiere traer a nuestro condado para llevarlas a cabo como supervisor.
Muchas gracias.
Sí, gracias.
Voten Louie Parra y coman más tomates.
Así es. Y muchísimas gracias. Gracias a todos nuestros seguidores. Muchas gracias a todos nuestros allies porque junto con ustedes estamos desarrollando un espacio para toda nuestra comunidad. Se los agradecemos infinitamente. Gracias por ese apoyo porque sin ustedes esto no sería posible. Muchísimas gracias. Me despido y seguimos en los segmentos. En estas semanas que viene casi a diario con Meet Your Local Candidates porque queremos cubrir a todos nuestros candidatos locales para cuando venga el tiempo de votar podamos conocer a cada uno de ellos y llevar a cabo nuestro voto. Muchísimas gracias y nos vemos en un ratito más. Hasta luego.